All right, quick video on how to rename zones within the PAVIRO controller. Also how to add, remove, and manage your zone groups within the PAVIRO configuration. To start out with, double click on your controller, and then the right side you'll see topology and zones. From here you'll find a couple drop down buttons here to access all of the zones. Right here you can rename them. Front desk, oops. Go ahead and rename a few. We'll say cafeteria. All right, so I've got a couple new ones here. From here, I'm going to hit New Group, and we'll call this Front Office, just for... Okay, and now I can check off the zones that I'd like within that group. There's one other place that you can see all your zones and groups which are connected together on your Manage Groups. From here, you can look at your groups, and it will give you an indication of which zones are included within each one of these. You can add zones to the groups from this window, but you cannot remove them one by one. You can also create a new group and delete a group. If you do create a group here, you cannot rename it here. You have to go back to the main window in order to rename it. You can right-click and rename the group. This is a little bit of an easier way to just do it from new group and then check off your boxes. But if you've got a lot of zones and a lot of groups, it might help to go into Manage Groups. But that's essentially all there is to renaming zones, creating groups, deleting groups, and managing your groups. Another thing I want to show is adding the zones and groups to the paging console. The group list, which I've got right here, this is my group 1, this is my group 2. The order in which they're in kind of plays a part here, because if you go over to your paging console, one thing you can do is I can assign zones and groups to individual keys. So if let's say this empty key here, these are already pre-assigned. You can see zone 1 to all the way up to zone 12. This is an empty key. If I was to drop a selection onto this, I could then hit the little menu key there, and I could put on one of my groups. So let's say front office, my group 1, system group 1. All right, so now that's on there. Another thing that we can do here is numeric keys. If I flip this on, these keys no longer have individual zones attached to them. They are a basically numeric key. This little plus key here ends up as my group key. So I could say group 1 and then the pound key to lock it in, and then I could press and hold my talk button. I could also just hit zone 1, pound, zone 2, pound, zone 5, pound, and then hit my talk key here. So it's a numeric keypad. Basically, without having to purchase a numeric keypad, you can turn the typical keypad into a numeric keypad by pressing this. And then if you uncheck that, basically you're back to programming as a standard call station where you're selecting zones one by one. So those are the basics as far as creating groups, renaming zones, and assigning them to your paging consoles. Thanks for watching.